Hey y'all, I did not know that apparently tomorrow is President's Day. I had no idea. So apparently tomorrow is President's Day. Therefore, I'm doing a sale on amandalandexports.com. That is an F the President sale where you can get, happy birthday, where you can get these bonnets by themselves. I haven't been selling them by themselves. I've been selling them as a part of a bundle. But just for this one day, to celebrate these terrible people. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So, for this one day to support these terrible people, to y'all can get your bonnets. So the bonnets are available right now. You can get a bonnet by itself. Okay? You can get a bonnet by itself. We got light work tonight. 95 folks. So shout out to everybody joining. I hope to see some sales come in. Because I know a lot of people were asking me, can I get the bonnet by itself? Can I get the bonnet by itself? Well, baby, now you can. Now you can. Okay. Yay! New Zealand, Elteria in the house. Yes. Andrietta, to be honest, I'm still sick. And I hate it. I hate it. I really can't believe I'm still feeling sick. I'm like, is it the weather? Yes, this is the website to purchase this bonnet. Should I make it say like, get this here, get this bonnet here? Should I do that? Would that be clearer? Get this bonnet here. I can tell you now. The odds of me bringing back sweatshirts are slim, baby. Very, very slim. You know, that's what I thought, Trini and Devoni, but apparently the people say no, I need to do that. Because I'm like, I mean, I'm going to do it though. Get this bonnet here. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Y'all told me that's what I need to do. I'm going to do it. I don't need to be told twice now. They said, we need to know that. They said that would have helped us. And so I'm doing it. What y'all up to tonight? Will I save this video? Stephanie, do your psych homework, Stephanie. Oh my gosh. Yes, we'll save this video. Go do your homework. So, I did a short where I was talking about the fact that I really did not know that people still thought that the election wasn't like that. It was a legit election. White Lotus. There's a new season of White Lotus. Drake album. Why would I be listening to a new Drake album? You know, to be honest, I wouldn't have been curious about a new Drake album regardless. Like, I just don't, like, I'm not into Drake's music anymore. Those days are gone. You know? Those days are gone, guys. It was a time. But he hasn't made any music or any songs that really made me like rock in a minute. But back to the election. Y'all really still think this election was legit? This election was all the way rigged, baby. Yeah. This election was all the way rigged. Like, I mean, to the point where I don't know what votes Kamala got or didn't get. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, like, it just is what it is. So I was surprised when I saw people like still like making statements like they got what they voted for. But meaning like we wouldn't have had this if they hadn't voted for Trump. Like when I see people like on my head, like, is this better? When I see people on my head, like, it's your fault that this is happening. I'm like, I'm not even, so my thing about Kamala, and I said this in my video, is that if Kamala had actually, you know, really got the left on her side, she would have had fighters. But she didn't. She wanted to get white centrist. I mean, you know what? I'll even be graceful and say this. She went along with the Democratic agenda of getting white centrist Republicans. How about that? May not have been her idea, but she went along with it. So she was not gonna so I say that to say that if she had done that, I feel like knowing that he rigged the shit, you would have had fighters on your side though. Oh wow, perfect amount. When black women say like, we've done enough, we're tired, I'm like, what does that even mean? I don't know what do you, meaning like, I don't know. I don't understand what that means, because black women are going to be affected in everything that's happening right now. And if you think just voting for Kamala was like, we've done enough, like, she sure did. She sure did, GM. You know, I was going to put out something different for my March drop, but considering all the ridiculousness that's going on and all the attention that is being paid to undermining women for Women's History Month, I figured I might do something with this image. Come back with the pins. What does white centrist Republicans mean? I don't know that I can explain. Republicans who are white and are more center-leaning than right-wing MAGA. Like, I don't understand how, I mean, that's 3 different adjectives, and it still wasn't clear? White centrist Republicans? I feel like that's clear. Maybe Trinity Dominican, but it is Sunday. As opposed to what? Well, what would be the opposite of white centrist Republicans? So it seems like I'm going to have to do this. Oh, unfortunately, it does things in reverse. So even if I write it out. Okay. Okay. I'm going to do this. Actually, I got to do it in reverse. So these are leftists. These are, I'm just going to draw a clan hood. These are Maga. Okay. This is Republicans. This is Democrats. These are progressives. Okay. I know it's backwards, but I'm going to try my best. Okay. So to the far left, we have leftists. Okay. Leftists would be considered like socialists, communists, essentially anybody who believes that capitalism at its root is the underpinning of all harm that is brought to this country. Leftists, or to the world. Leftists also believe in revolution. Leftists also typically believe in like abolition, and they are essentially like considered the extreme left because they are, at the end of the day, for the dismantling of everything that's been built in the name of this pseudo-democratic capitalist framework that we exist in. Okay? Next, you have progressives. Progressives, well, thank you, Nina Mosley. A blues for Nina. Hey, baby, can I be your slave? I got to admit, girl, you the girl, and I'm digging you like a grave. All right. Then we have progressives. Progressives are folks who are maybe not as willing, they're not as willing to like throw it all away, but they are absolutely in agreement that capitalism is not a 100% effective method. They believe more so that solutions around socialist issues, around socialist programs, they believe that socialist programs can solve a number of solutions at the same time as believing that there is a place for capitalism if it is done a certain way. Okay? So that's what they believe. Progressives, and in saying that, the whole certain way thing means that corporations do not have money in politics. That's a big one. Progressives believe that corporations should not have money in politics. So when you saw the squad form, the squad at the time, it was Jamal Bowman, it was AOC, it was Rashida Tlaib, it was Cori Bush, it was Ilhan Omar, it was Representative Ayanna Pressley, etc., right? They are progressives. They're Democrats, but they're progressive Democrats in that they agree with some of the Democrat policies, but at the end of the day, they also are left-leaning in that they do think that there are some socialist-style programs that really should be implemented, and they do not believe in corporations and government. Okay. They also, as Rolando said, still believe in dismantling the master's house with master's tools. Now, when people were naming people like Cornel West as a leftist, here's my argument. I don't think a true leftist can run for president. I don't believe that. I think a true leftist, Patricia, I think a true leftist understands that as long as that role is in place and situated in the way that it is, you can't do the job. So I don't believe anybody running for president is a true leftist, unless they're running for president with the goal of dismantling the whole thing. Okay? A Democrat is a name of a party, okay? But we're going to more so talk about the values, okay? The Democrat is believing that corporations do have a role in government. They do have a role in democracy. Democrats also uphold corporate roles in governments and benefit off of it because people like Nancy Pelosi, people like Chuck Schumer, they literally make money off of their roles in the Democrat government. So the D in the center means we are going to act like we like everybody. So we don't want everybody to, basically, here's the key. So actually, instead of Democrat, it really should be liberal. Okay? It really should be liberal. I would say Bernie Sanders falls right in here. I think when he started, he was over here, but he's right over here. Once you take AIPAC money, you're right here. Once you take AIPAC money, you are here. The only thing that makes Bernie Sanders kind of over here is because he actually says Palestinians. But for the record, he's over here. Liam, if you don't know who the hell Bernie Sanders is, then you need to get off of this live and Google and then come back and stop speaking like you are running the show here. Who the hell are you talking to? Check yourself. Anywho, now so Democrats are really liberals. Yes, I know it's backwards for you, Ryan, which I said several times. Democrats are really liberals, okay? Liberals essentially don't want anybody to really be hurt. Liberals are basically okay with anybody being hurt as long as it doesn't with nobody being hurt as long as it doesn't inconvenience them. So like the minute Palestinians being hurt inconveniences liberals, they'll have an issue. But since it doesn't inconvenience them, they're like, I mean, what can they do? You know, what can we do? What can we do? So an inconvenience can mean a number of things, right? So for instance, when Black people on March 7th, 1965, walked across the Edmund Pettus Bridge and attempted to walk to Montgomery, Alabama from Selma to get their voting rights. And it was actually put on television as they got their butts beat by these racist cops. It was inconvenient for the white people that were watching. And that's when they were like, ooh, we should probably not hurt the Blacks like that. Because it like made them uncomfortable. So inconvenience can be related to emotions. Inconvenience can be related to commerce. Inconvenience can be related to a number of things. So for instance, liberals didn't have a problem with trans people until trans people were trying to play sports with their kids. Then they're like, oh wait, no, because if Lindsay with an AY loses to a trans person, that's a problem. Lindsay with an AY needs to win. That's Democrats and liberals. And they will only do enough to not inconvenience themselves. Libertarians are over here. And libertarians are like up here. Libertarians are like, we want to do whatever we want, but we want to be white and rich doing it. So then you have Republicans, which are, that's the name of the actual, what's it called? Of the actual party, but they're really centrists. But they're really conservatives. Okay? So conservatives believe that money should be reserved for only certain swaths of the population. They believe that at the end of the day, white people are ranking. And Natasha, shut up. They believe that, like, it's so annoying when you all come on here to like tell me, I think that you should do that. You lucky I'm doing this shit. And it's for free. So they believe that I really think that you should do an XY chart. Like, I'm here with a piece of paper and a marker telling me about it should be on the XY axis. Okay. And y'all need to know this on YouTube. I take things literally. I am a literal person. So be careful when you say things because I'm not going to understand the nuance. I'm going to take it literal. So sometimes y'all be on here and y'all be typing like I'm not going to see it. Okay? I am literal. This is how I am. That's part of my autism. If you say you need to do XYZ, I take that as you trying to tell me what to do. And I don't like being told what to do. So don't talk to me like that. Okay, thank you, Natasha. We on the same page. All right. Conservative. Conservatives are also, in the past, conservatives would always be on this whole, like, we want small government. We want government out of people's lives. We want fiscal control. And that, at this point, is really not what they be on. Nonetheless, hold on, I gotta block somebody. Nonetheless, it is, it's worth pointing out. It's worth pointing out that Democrats and Republicans used to be the reverse, where the Republicans were about more free economy and government programs, and the Democrats were about laissez-faire government. They didn't want the government involved in things, and they really wanted there to be much more. They really wanted only legislation as it is in regard to them getting more money and tax breaks. However, during the 60s, I'm over here. During the 60s and the Civil Rights Movement and LBJ passing laws that were directly related to Black people, that were specifically related to improving the lives of Black people, something that Kamala Harris said she would not do. She would never do a law that would only help Black people, which I don't even understand that. Anyways, and just because you do a law that is for Black people doesn't mean that it doesn't benefit other people. Case in point, Civil Rights Law of the Civil Rights Law, the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment was passed post-Civil War to grant birthright citizenship to the Black people who were here as slaves. However, very quickly, it was applied to other people because there were other people that were here that weren't just slaves, but that were born here because they were brought here to work. This railroad was built by Chinese folks. So, the civil rights benefited everyone. Civil rights benefited Nimrata Haley, Nikki ass Haley. I don't speak softer. This is how I talk. If you don't like this, turn your phone down. This is how I talk. So, when you have someone like Donald Trump saying like the 14th Amendment, because they're trying to reverse the Constitution is what they're trying to do. So when he's trying to say the civil rights law of the 14th Amendment does not apply to, come on, I'm so tired. Sorry, that law does not apply to birthright. It's nonsense. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So conservatives have made it their business to continuously gut any types of civil rights laws, because after those civil rights laws passed, it turned out that the individuals who were in those parties actually no longer represented the parties the way that they did before. And so the parties flipped in terms of their interests. That is when Republicans became very committed to making sure that government was not involved in lives and blah, 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 not because they want people to be able to live freely, but because they didn't like that the government was granting freedom. Yes. So that's why. So the longest filibuster in history was done by Strom Thurmond to try to reverse the Civil Rights Law of 1964. So you have people in here that like to do things like, that's partly true. I said Asians built the railroad. I didn't say they were the only ones who built the railroad. I said Asians built the railroad, which they did. Anywho, so when it comes to the Republicans that represent the conservatives today, they are still grounded in less government. They are still grounded in wanting to have less taxes, etc. And this is all in response to, they know that the wealth of this country is actually very much quarantined by white people and families and legacies. They know that. So they want there to be very little regulation around how they get to keep their money. Then you have Maga. MAGA is literally just conservatives with hoods on. In addition, though, conservatives are capitalists to the hilt. Conservatives are capitalists to the hilt, meaning that they absolutely want corporations to thrive. And capitalism, just so we're clear, capitalism should not be confused with commerce. And I think that happens quite a bit. Sometimes people say things like capitalism, like, oh, you're Amanda, you're selling your stuff, you're a capitalist. No, I'm a merchant. Commerce is an exchange of goods, and that can happen in a number of ways. It can happen through barter, it can happen through names of service, through services, it can happen through money, but it doesn't mean that it is at the exploitation of someone else. And that is what capitalism is. Capitalism, in order for it to continue, requires the exploitation of someone in some way, shape, or form, or of something. So it either requires the exploitation of people or the exploitation of products, of animals, or the exploitation of resources, etc. Consumerism and commerce are not the same thing. Consumerism is buying for the sake of buying, not because it has value to you. If this bonnet is something that brings value to you because it brings you joy, because it is supporting a Black-owned business, because it's supporting an independent business, because it's supporting a Black woman. Yes, I am maternal around children. If it's supporting a Black woman, all those things, you are actually coming into an economy that is going to circulate the dollar, right? So like if you are in Black Wall Street and you purchase something as, commercially as a merchant in Black Wall Street, you are a consumer by nature of you buying something, but consumerism is the actual effort to create an abundance of products for people to continue to buy to keep an economy going based on nothing. Right? So when we talk about commerce and capitalism, understand capitalism requires exploitation because it needs for something to be less in order for it to be more. So when we talk about like reining in our capitalist ideas, so I will say something that I have done to try to like undo this, right? Is like on my Patreon. When people subscribe to my Patreon, they can get everything that's there regardless of what level they're at. If you're at a $5 level, if you're at a $10 level, if you're at a $25 level, you can get everything that's there. It's based on what you desire to give. So when we talk about the difference between like commerce and consumerism is not necessary. Consumerism is absolutely not necessary. No, it is not. What doesn't make any sense? It doesn't make any sense for me to provide the same thing for everybody and they just determine whether or not they can pay how they want. It does make sense because it gives more people more options to come. And it doesn't cost me more to make those things. Hello? It doesn't cost me more. Yes, we can live without consumerism. Absolutely. Consumerism does not... What? Yes. I'm from Grenada. You don't got consumerism in Grenada. You buy based on need and maybe want. But you, for the most part, buy based on need. You absolutely do not. So capitalism says you get better. Okay, I'll break it down. Capitalism says you get better and you get more because you have more money. I do not agree with that. Okay? I don't agree with that. I believe that when it comes to my work, you should not have to make more money to be able to enjoy it. The space that I've created on my Patreon has multiple values. So people who come there are also coming there with a varied amount of access to financial resources. So when they come to my Patreon, they may say, this month I have $5 and I want to give $5 and I can get everything. And I don't feel like I should penalize them. If they this month have 15, they subscribe to 15. I don't think I should penalize them if they don't. What you're mistaking, what you're not understanding is that there's a difference between being a consumer and consumerism. Okay? There's a difference. There's a difference between being consumer and consumerism. You can be a consumer, meaning I have purchased this. Okay? Consumerism, as it exists as a space, is the created world of making shit for no reason other than to get people to buy it, even if it does not meet any need. Yes, what Sage said is absolutely factual. The collective idea of wants and needs have been heavily distorted. Yes. Now let's remember, when we talk about needs, right? Needs doesn't always just have to be based on like your actual abilities, like your actual like living needs, right? Like I'm somebody who's going to have different needs than somebody else. I need music. I need it to exist in my best self. Some people don't need music. I need water. Everybody needs water. Mr. Cool asked, does capitalism not promote drive and the growth of new ideas through monetary incentives? Ultimately, that is a very beautiful rendering of capitalism. But the truth is that humans are innovators. So we will create regardless. We have been creating our entire existence. We do not need monetary incentive to create. And what's most valuable is when we create for the purpose of encouraging greater livelihood, the incentive of community strength. Like all of these methods that we have around medicine were created from people who created those methods, not so they could sell it in a pill, but so they could keep their people safe. Okay? So capitalism says that when you make something, we need to put a dollar amount on it and we need to drive up competition. So you can have innovation for a number of reasons and ways. It doesn't have to be related to simply, monetary gain. And I think, and I know many people would agree, that monetary gain is actually the death of innovation. Because what it does is it becomes about, how do I make this for the least amount of money possible? How do I make this in the fastest way possible? How do I do all of that? This person on here talking about TikTok education while I'm an entire Columbia graduate from Columbia Graduate School. So yes, mystical MMV, creation of things to make life easier has existed before capitalism. Okay? So we can also want things because it makes us feel good, right? The consumerism tells us we need 50-11 of those things. Okay? We need 50-11 of those things. So like I have had to, thank you, Shay, I have had to curb my own enthusiasm, curb my own consumerism. Thank you, Ariana. I've had to consume my own consumerism because I, of course, like every other American, have been indoctrinated to believe that if I want it and I can get it, I should get it. And baby, that's just not the way that it should go. Just because I want it doesn't mean I should get it. Is it going to bring me any joy? Like a significant amount? Is it going to be valuable? Is it important? No. In that moment, I may be like, I really want them pants. But then I'll really think about it. And I'm like, you want the pants, but babe, do you need the pants? And no, it doesn't always have to be based on want and need. But if it's like, if I don't get these pants, they're going to haunt me. Maybe I do need the pants. Okay? Now, someone says, Natasha says, do you think capitalism could work if necessities to one's livelihood are not to be capitalized on, and if tax brackets are appropriately placed based in income compared to median? Well, that's socialism. You're describing socialism. That is essentially socialism. Yes. Because if I am, like, everybody isn't equal in their skill sets, right? What's unfortunate, though, is that in the capitalist economy and world that we're in, the effort is not made to encourage people to lean into their skill sets. The effort is made to force people into the labor force that will keep things going. So I was very fortunate because I've always been an artist, but I was also good at school. And so I had teachers who would support my being good at school, and then I had a mom who would support my arts. But so many folks don't get that. And a lot of folks that are really good at art aren't really good at school. But because our methodology of bringing people into this American system ignores you if you are not going to serve the capitalism, you oftentimes are misled away from the passion thing that you would actually be able to do that would actually bring you joy and also bring you money. Now, so in that regard, everybody isn't going to be as good as everybody else. If I decided to make pottery today and Molly from Ghost also was like, I'm going to sell my pottery too. She's probably going to make more money than me because her pots are better. I suck at pottery, right? I suck at pottery. So she's going to make more money than me. However, her making more money than me might mean that she can have more fancier things. It might mean that she can travel more. It might mean that she can, what's the word I'm looking for? It might mean that she can feed her wants on a more extravagant level. However, it in no way prevents me and her from getting our needs met. That is essentially what socialism is. Now, if I get nice on the pots, I'm going to show up and I'm going to be like, Molly, you in danger, girl. I'm nice with the pottery now. Yes, Natasha, the free market should work that way. Instead, they have monopolized it. And basically somebody from Walmart came and said, hey, Molly and Amanda, I'm actually going to buy all your pots. And now I own this place where you were selling your pots. And if you want to sell your pots, you're going to actually have to sell them through me and I'm going to take a cut. Which is also what Hollywood is. Hollywood is the same thing. Hey, I know that you're making these things, but you're not going to be able to get them to people unless you bring them through our system. And we're going to take a cut and we're also going to put our name on it. And that's the only way it's going to get to people. Now, it's not to say that there isn't something to be said for, it's not to say that there isn't something to be said for like there being curated spaces for certain things, because that's a whole different job, right? So like if I create a marketplace where people can come sell their things, they don't have to worry about, let's say it's a digital marketplace. They don't have to worry about the site being functional. They don't have to worry about the design. They don't have to worry about the bandwidth because I'm footing the bill for all of that. Then that's an exchange. Do you see how that's commerce? That doesn't have to be capitalism. If I am taking a fair cut, then it's commerce. I'm doing heavy lifting that they don't have to do, and they are doing heavy lifting that I can't do. That is commerce. The exploitation comes when the splits start getting twisted. So what happens in Hollywood is that you show up with something that you have cultivated for years, okay? You've got a whole audience, you've cultivated it, you've made this incredible piece of art that people come and show up for, and now this network is like, man, you've done so much work, we want to put that on our network. However, we own it now. And you like, wait a minute. You own it now. Can't we just license it where, you pay me a fee to play it? Sure. But if we license it, no one else can play it. We have exclusive rights. So while you're playing my thing, I can't put it nowhere else? Nope. It's ours now until we decide it's not. Something else that happens so often is a network will buy your show, decide not to make it, and not give it back to you. That's a real thing. VH1 wanted me to bring back Best Week Ever. They were talking to me about bringing back Best Week Ever, creating all of the creative around it, executive producing it, everything. And then in the contract, it said, however, if we decide to go forward with your development of the new version of Best Week Ever, you won't get to host it. I said, wait, what? We won't guarantee We won't guarantee that you're the host. I said, so just so I'm clear, I could develop this whole thing, make it hot, put it together, pop it off, and I'm not guaranteed. Natasha said Jordy is livid. Jordy see a dog outside. By the way, they also would not allow me to choose my own hair and makeup person. So I let that go. No, it wasn't crazy paper, Mr. Cool. That's the other part of it. It's not crazy paper. It's rarely crazy paper. So, okay. I'm sure you've seen deals where people get like $100 million deal, right? Person gets $100 million deal with Sony, $100 million deal with such and such. Are you thinking that they're getting $100 million like as a check or as an investment? Because it's not. It's not $100 million. It's the possibility that they could make $100 million. Because within that contract is going to be all types of benchmarks that you got to hit to make that. And they got to buy the stuff that you make first and foremost. So I say all that to say that conservatives support all of that. They do not support a free market economy. They want consolidation in as many ways as possible. They want things to be as controllable as possible, which is that God complex. And MAGA is all of that, but with absolutely no regard for anyone. MAGA wants the same thing that leftists want for completely different reasons. Leftists want a dismantling of the framework that has been built in order to rebuild one that serves the people. MAGA wants a dismantling of the framework that has been built in order to rebuild one that only serves the rich and the whites. This person just said assumption as if Project 2025 isn't a 800-page manifesto of what they want. And for the record, MAGA is really just a catchy acronym for Christian nationalists. And I want to remind you that in none of these roles do you have to be white. You can be a black MAGA. You can be a white leftist. Okay? None of these roles are race specific. Okay? And that, I would say, is one of the biggest shifts that has happened since the civil rights movement, which is why I find it incredibly debilitating to continue to frame what we need to do based on the civil rights movement. We're not in the same place. We don't have the same players. And we're literally on a completely different playing field. It's literally like bringing baseball players onto a football field and saying play. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Now, I will tell you that I am not the one to start the physical. But I ain't gonna stop it if it happened. I'm gonna just say that. So someone here is asking a dumb question. Stephen Collins, African people go to America and are successful, so why can Black Americans not do it? Not every African person comes to America and is successful, and not every Black American in America is unsuccessful. Next question. That is a white person who is trying to start it up. Who is this person in all caps using ellipses all gratuitously? I can't stand you people. Stop using ellipses all over the place. Do you even know what the point of an ellipsis is? If you're going to talk to me, at least give me the respect. If you're going to yell at me, at least give me the respect of proper grammar. Ugh. TikToky, don't do that. Don't give them legitimate answers. They don't know. They don't care. Because if they wanted legit answers, they would have already sought them out. No, they just wanted to start something. And Stephen Collins, you're not being serious. You're asking a dumb question. You act as if every African person who has come off the plane has achieved some measure of success, and that is an absolute falsehood. And what it does is it puts forth this idea of the model minority. It puts forth this idea of Black people being lazy in a country that actually was built on their backs. So your skin color has everything to do with it, because if you were actually a Black person, then there's a greater chance that you would understand the uniqueness of the experience of being a Black American and being African from the continent. Or you'd be Morgan Freeman, who once said racism doesn't exist because him and Don Lemon were on TV. Jackass. Stephen, if you're more African than me, that doesn't make you more wise. Are you now saying that you are from the continent? And so you are now one of these African people from the continent that has this elitist idea that somehow you coming to the United States and finding financial success makes you somehow better than Black Americans who are unable to find financial success? Because when you all say that type of dumb shit, you really just sound like ignorant whites. That's what you sound like. That's the type of things that ignorant whites say. Because the truth of the matter is that the entire continent, save maybe two places, what is it? Ethiopia and I think one other place on the continent was colonized. Okay? Like, get out of here. So to suggest that somehow y'all are better is bonkers to me. If you're so great, why are you coming over here? And for the most part, not all, but for the most part, what you probably consider success requires assimilation. Luna, we've talked about socialism for the last hour. You're going to have to just do the replay. Elon Musk is African born. He is not African. Big difference. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing? Jordy, what's the beef? What's the beef? So, Exactly, Mr. Cole. He is an Afrikaner. He is only there because he was a part of an oppressive apartheid regime. He got somewhere else to go back to. You're convinced that I have a Jewish soul? Baruch atah chaladenoi. Mazel. Chava, Nagila, Chava, Nagila, Chava, Nagila ben Nishmaka. L'chaim. Oh, dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay. Oh, dreidel, 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 oh, dreidel, I will play. People come in here with such weird things. Like, I just be wondering, like, where are you in your life if at 9:45 Eastern, you came on this sister's live to say, don't quit your day job? Like, what's going on in your life? You know what I mean? What's happening? I befriended a lot of Jewish people at Columbia. I don't know if that's accurate. I mean, I befriended a lot of Jewish people over the course of being in the entertainment business. I was in the Institute for Research in African American Studies. I mean, the Torah is literally like Moses and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, all the Zionist stuff is like, this ain't got nothing to do with being Jewish. Nothing. Yes, I did design my t-shirt. Shout out to Part of the Red Sea. Hilarious. So whoever's just joining, we had a really great conversation earlier where we discussed the difference between leftists, progressives, conservatives, leftists, progressives, liberals, aka Democrats, conservatives, aka Republicans, and Maga, aka right-wing Christian nationalists. I wish my show was 5 days instead of 3, but that would require a whole team so that I could have an actual life and not drain myself to death. Truly. Someone said they're all the same. No, they're not all the same. What a reductive point of view. Centrists are essentially, centrists are liberals. They try to act like they're on the left, but they're not. They're centrists. What's the rate for a producer nowadays? Who you asking the wrong person. I'm not in Hollywood. No, I do not make the bonnets myself. Interns are no good. If y'all knew how I put together my show, you would understand. And essentially, it's the kind of show that I need to do for quite some time before I'm able to hire people, because they need to have been fans of it. They need to be able to reference it. They need to already understand my voice. They need to be able to actually come in and mimic me. And it has to be in existence long enough for them to be able to do that. It has to be established, so to speak. Block Zachary. I don't know who. Okay, when I see Zach, oh, there we go. Some miserable people, boy. Why you cover up the Erin Marie Olszewski nurse whistleblower expose? What? It's a different kind of weirdos on YouTube. It's a different kind of weirdos on YouTube. Like, Chacho, that makes me feel good because sometimes I'm like, what are we doing? What am I doing? Amanda, do you think Christians can fall under both the conservative and liberal umbrella? I think Christians can fall anywhere on that. Do I think actual followers of Jesus can? No. And let me just be clear, not all Christians are followers of Jesus. So let's just make that clear. Because a lot of these Christians, they're not studying Jesus. They're not studying Jesus. It's real easy to follow Jesus. Because he was really clear in how he has been depicted in the Bible. He's like, hey, ain't nobody out here should be feeling no type of pain if other people are not feeling pain. You got leprosy. Maybe you can't be over here with us, but we need to make sure you good over there. I think people really think that he was like making the blind man see. And it's like, no, he was like on YouTube Live explaining like, yo, this is how we really should be living. I'm not making that up. I mean, if you want to believe all of that, then fine. I do not believe that. I don't need to believe that to understand the value of someone like Jesus in this lifetime, in this experience of humans on earth. I don't need Jesus to come and do magic, like turning water and wine and stuff, in order for discounting the miracle makes me a blasphemer. Well, baby, blasphemy. Then blasphemy, baby. Blasphemy. You know, I think it's fascinating to me when you guys, it's like it's not enough. It's not enough for somebody within the brutal, savage framework of Roman times to have selfless compassion beyond measure. His selflessness and compassion, as it has been written about, was so ostensibly different than the surroundings that it was magical. That is what we have witnessed many times in history. Individuals who are such departures from their surroundings that they seem supernatural. Like, where did you come from? Where did you come from? Because you couldn't have come here in the natural way. Because You way too different. And if believing that person's incredible ability to love and to have compassion, etc., if that requires magic for you to believe in it, then I think you have to ask yourself some other questions. No, DR Wild, you are lost. And everything that I've said tonight is going to ring out in your brain for weeks on end because it is true. And all of you all who are offended is just a reflection of your own limitations. Compassion, generosity, love should not require miracles. And magic and miracles are not two different things. They're two different words. They simply created it as two different things in order to distance people from the things that they were able to do that others weren't able to do. The people who made magic a bad thing were people who were harming those people in the name of religion. Did you know that? Did you know that? I'm not mistaken. I'm not mistaken. You guys have such a connection to falsehood that you have received and been indoctrinated under. But the truth of the matter is these words and their etymologies and where they were given and how they were, what's the word? How they were connotated is 9 times out of 10 nothing to do with anything good or positive. And this person, Dr. Wild, continues to sit here. He's calling me names. He's saying I'm crazy, but he's still here. Why would you sit here listening to a blasphemer? Why? Isn't that heresy on your part? I would consider you sitting here listening to me. If I'm a blasphemer, that would mean that you are the one who is sinning. Like the fact that y'all will literally sit here and say like, magic and miracles are different. So, I just, like you were literally told that. You can't tell me how they're different. You were told it though, but you can't tell me how it was different. You're just offended by it because you feel like it's a comparison to darkness. And it always blows my mind how committed people are to wielding the words of a language given to them by a colonizer as definitions for judgment on people that are not saying anything different than what they believe. We are speaking a colonizer's language. We are speaking a colonizer's language. No, I'm not a college professor. I think I could be, though. Do I believe the Bible has been reinterpreted? What do you mean, do I believe? That's a fact. That is a fact. That's not a belief. That is a fact. funny to me that you framed it that way. That is a fact. Oh. You think Ethiopians are studying the same Bible as the King James? Forms of magic are an illusion, yes. So you don't think miracles can be an illusion? For what it's worth, magic is not simply relegated to being an illusion. Magic has been quantified and qualified and named in a myriad of different ways. And when the women of towns who knew the way that herbs could heal people were called witches, it was because they were labeled as working magic, when really they just understood the earth, right? They understood the earth and its relationship to the human body. And because there were men that had hats on and that had been given power, that didn't appreciate that these women had power that they didn't have, which wasn't really power, it was knowledge, right? They had knowledge. They said, that's evil. And what they did was they indoctrinated people to believe that you don't need those women to be healed. You need us. We're the ones who are going to heal you. When in actuality, all they did was just make women no longer allowed to learn those skills and made men learn them. But at the end of the day, magic has many, many meanings. Many meanings. The same way the word religion has many meanings. The same way the word spirit and faith also have many, many meanings. And many of the people who taught the people who were stolen and brought here English taught them words in contexts that were not relevant to what they actually were coming from. Tara, don't even start that in here because you know they're going to lose their goddamn minds. What's my love language? My love language is gifts and acts of service. Actually, I like all of that. I like all of that. Would I rather take Dr. Sebi Seamoss or debate brainwashed Christians? The clouds are wallpaper. You know, I don't debate Christians because life is hard and everybody needs something to get through. So I don't debate Christians, but you're not going to try and make me into, you know, a sinner or the devil or whatever they like to call people who don't agree with them. You're not going to make me into that. But I'm not going to debate you because ultimately, you know, that's what you need to get through. And this shit is hard. Whatever floats your boat, but don't try and sink mine. My home is on native lands. Give it back and return to your land. I am native to this land. I am native to this land. I was stolen. I was stolen, and my great-great-grandmother was raped by her slave owner on the land that her and her people were tilling every day. History is not as basic as Zionists like to make it out to be. feel you, Panda Bear. Same. These are some terrible people here in these comments. Yikes. No, my great grandmother was a black woman. You know, the existence of Black Americans didn't happen until we made them here. You know that, right? The culture, the ethnicity, etc. This isn't getting us money. A. Wilson, do we only talk about things that make us money? Is that what it is? No, I've never taken ayahuasca yet. I'm kind of scared. I feel like my brain's going to be like... The Egyptians have Egyptian culture. There were Black Egyptians, and they have that culture. Black Americans have our own culture. And it has been systematically dismantled. And this is what I'm going to do my PhD on. I didn't say that Black people weren't here before the transatlantic slave trade. I said the Black American as a culture, Black American as a culture did not exist until then. There were Black people here, but they were not considered Black Americans. They were dark-skinned Native Americans. Or they had traveled from Africa. I'm not even sure why these people are like really mean. Rolando, do you want to moderate? Oh, Sandy says she'll moderate. Okay, Sandy. Sandy, you're moderating. Go on the site and find out. Daisy Gates, that's a line. Folks are religiously deep till they are spiritually drowning. I don't know much about Dr. Umar Johnson. My favorite fish from Grenada. I really like a tuna. I really like a tuna. I know you thought I was going to say Jack's, but I just really like a tuna. Oh, my favorite dish? I just really like a cook-up rice. You know, a rice with a rice and peas and some chicken in it. And with a Scotch bonnet pepper for flavor. You know, I like a Scotch bonnet. And I really love a fish broth. No, Natasha, but that is something that I need to get into. My mom is left-handed. They used to beat her in school for being left-handed. Craziness. Well, this was a heck of a live. I planned to come on for 30 minutes and ended up on here doing an entire lesson. I'm about to just go to sleep. But tomorrow morning, we will be there for Views from Amanda Land at 10 a.m. Though I am taking the week off, I am still going to start you all up with a topic that you all can stay on and chat about. So I think that's going to be cool and fun and necessary so I can work on my book. Okay? Y'all have a great, fabulous evening. And Levi A, if you subscribe, you can turn on notifications and you'll get a notification when I go live. Mwah. Thanks, y'all. Have a good one. And remember, get your bonnets at amandalandexports.com. I'm selling them till tomorrow at midnight as a special individual. Because before, you had to get them in a bundle. So for F the Prez Day, you can get them by themselves. Night, night. Thank you, Lanice.